Hey again, we're going to talk today about citing sources. All right, well, we'll get right into it. I'm in a new lecture, new setting, same floppy hair, by the way. So let's go here. Citing sources. There's two ways to cite sources. The first and most obvious way that you've all done is on paper. What I mean by on paper is that you've all at one point submitted a works cited page or a bibliography, and you will have to do that for this speech. I've already stated on the requirements that it has to accompany the outline. And by the way, I don't care if that's MLA works cited, APA, Chicago style, whatever. I do prefer MLA because it's a little easier, but for the most part, as long as it looks nice and neat, I'm fine. But today's lecture is mostly about how to cite sources out loud, which means, yes, you're going to say the sources during the speech. A lot of you saw this happening already when you read through the sample speeches on micro-revolutions and the one on the sarcophagus, and some of you said, oh, that's really cool, I want to do that. I'm glad you thought that because you have to do that. So when it comes to citing sources out loud, normally you have to say the name and the date of the source. The date you always cite when you're giving these speeches. I mean, that changes here and there, but for the most part, for this class, yes, you always cite the date. As specific as you can get it, which would be like the date and the year, like November 21st, 2015. But oftentimes, even just giving me the year gives me some idea as to how recent the information was. The name, though, that depends on what has the most credibility. So you have the name of the author, the name of the publication, the name of the article, like the title, and also the name of a book. And we're going to run through a small exercise today to talk about which ones you should choose, because it all comes down to this, the credibility statement. Sometimes a credibility statement is needed. A credibility statement is when you justify the quality of a source. We talked about quality sources in the previous lecture on gathering research, but now we're going to talk about how to incorporate that when you say a source out loud. So let's take something simple, a book. A book has the following information for citing a source. You have the book title, the author, the author's qualifications, the date that it was published, and finally the information that you are using from the book. Now, name and date. Date is easy, but name, you could go with the book title, the author, etc. But normally, this is really important, if you're citing a book, right, in your speech, it really helps if you give me the credibility statement, which means that you give me the author's qualifications. Let's go through an example. I picked up a book next to me. This is my wife's book. Let me actually switch screens with you for a second. This book is called Don't Keep Your Day Job, How to Turn Your Passion into a Career by Cathy Heller. This book was published in 2019. And according to the inside cover of the book, Cathy Heller is the creator of a hugely popular podcast. All right. So let's go back to the information we were talking about. And this book, by the way, is, I guess, about finding your passion, etc. All right, so we have book, title, author, qualifications, date published, information. By the way, the information we're taking from this is that the pursuit of happiness is all about finding our purpose. So, according to a book titled Don't Keep Your Day Job by author Cathy Heller, who, by the way, is the creator of a widely famous podcast, and the book was published in 2019. She tells us that the pursuit of happiness is all about finding our purpose. What you heard there is a source citation with the credibility statement. If you wanted to make it shorter, you could just say, according to the book Don't Keep Your Day Job, published in 2019, the pursuit of happiness is all about finding our purpose. Makes sense, right? Now, the reason why you add the author's qualifications is because oftentimes when you give me the name of a book, or even the name of an author, my first reaction is, who is this person? So if you're using a book, the author's qualifications in the justification statement is really important. So let's take another example. A periodical. A periodical, as defined before, is a magazine, newspaper, or even academic peer-reviewed journal. Let's go back to my screen. My example today, again, picked up next to me because my wife has a lot of literature lying around. Vogue. Beauty Without Borders. Can you all see that? This issue of Vogue is from April 2020, so it's recent. And there's an article in here called Can you see this? The misshapes. This article doesn't even say who this article is written by. Oh, because it's continued on the next page. 187. This article is about how chefs are taking misshapen food, otherwise known as food waste, and using it in their restaurants so that we have less food waste. The title of the author does not say who wrote the article. Okay, so let's go back to our other screen. When you have a periodical, you have a lot of information. You've got the publication, which is Vogue magazine, the article title, which is The Misshapes, the author. Let's just make up a name and say it's Jane Doe, because I don't know it. The author's qualifications, don't know that either. The date published is April 2020, and the information is that restaurant owners are using misshapen food. So we're going to put all that together in a source citation, and it sounds like this. I'm going to try to make it smoother this time. According to author Jane Doe, who is probably a journalist, she wrote an article in the April 2020 issue of Vogue magazine, and the article was called The Misshapes. And basically, this article says that restaurants these days are using misshapen food in their restaurants because they want to eliminate food waste. That's it. That's your source citation. Source citation with credibility statement, where I tried to justify why this, this source is legitimate. Now, this could be a lot shorter because you only need one name and then the date. You have to go for the name that has the most credibility. And because we don't know who Jane Doe is, and because the name of the article, The Misshapes, does nothing for us, the thing with the most credibility is actually the name of the publication, Vogue. So the shorter version of this source citation sounds like this. According to an article in Vogue magazine published in April 2020, restaurant owners these days are using misshapen food in their menus. It's easy, right? Name and date. You might ask, when do I use a credibility statement and when do I not? Again, it depends on how credible your source is. If it's like Los Angeles Times or National Public Radio or BBC News, you don't need to say, according to BBC News, which is a really well-accredited news organization. That's a little like saying, according to Barack Obama, who was once the president of the United States. Like, it almost is a little condescending to assume that people don't know who this person is. If they're widely popular and they have a great reputation, then that's all you need to do. You don't have to give me the credibility statement. All right, we're going to do one more example. And the reason why I'm running you through these examples is because I'm going to put an assignment on Canvas where I'll give you a fake book, a fake newspaper, a fake website, and then you give me the source citation, and then you decide if you need to give me a credibility statement or not, and what that's supposed to sound like. All right, last one, website. So websites often have a name, an author or organization, hopefully, author's qualifications. You can create your own this time. And then the date that it was last updated or created. And of course, the information you're using. All right, I've got something fun for you all. Let me see if I can find it. There it is. This is an article called the top 30 most dangerous household cat breeds. I just typed in cats in Google and found this. The website is awesomejelly.com. And I've already looked through this website and I could not find an author. I found that ad, and then I could not find the date that this information was published. So there you go. Well, let's make some of that up. So I'm going back to this. The website name is Awesome Jelly. The author is, let's make up a name, John Doe this time. The qualifications are that John Doe is, I don't know, a vet. And let's give it a fake date. So let's say that this was published 2 years ago, in 2018. Oh, right, and the information we're using, according to this website, is that one of the top breeds that's the most dangerous is the, click next, Savannahs. That does look like a dangerous cat. I don't even know. No one should have that cat as a pet. All right, going back. According to the website Awesome Jelly, there's an article on there called The Top 30 Most Dangerous Cat Breeds, written by John Doe, who is a vet of about, I don't know, 20 years. He published this article in 2018, and he says that the most dangerous cat breed ever are savannas. So that was a lot of information, and I just broke it up into different sentences to get it all out. But if the website had a credible name, if Awesome Jelly was this really legit website, then all I would need to say is, according to awesomejelly.com, published in 2018, the most dangerous cat breed are the savannas. That's it. Assuming that you don't need a credibility statement because the website is legit. In this case, the website was not legit, so you would have to justify why the author or the site has credibility, has qualifications. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that, coming back to my webcam, if you have a source, if you're using a source in your speech and you don't think it's credible because you cannot find the date, you cannot find some qualifications for the author or the publication itself, then maybe you should not use that source. Okay? I'm going to post the activity on Canvas. You're going to try it out, and I'm going to use something called Flipgrid, where you have to say your things, and we all get to see that. I thought it'd be more fun. Okay, that's it. Bye!